There are gaps within Montana's early childhood system. There continues to be a challenge when it comes to being able to access childcare and afford childcare. Here in Montana, 60% of our state qualifies as being a childcare desert. We're one of 6 states that does not fund public preschool or early learning.
I mean, Montana has a lot of low-income families. We have people that are out in places where they can't even get access to certain resources.
So they're trying to patch things together as best they can, but they can't afford full-time childcare.
I was a preschool teacher for a long time, and the more I learned about brain development and the importance of those early years, the more it was obvious to me that not every child had what they needed to be able to succeed and thrive.
0 to 5 Montana is a statewide early childhood policy and advocacy organization. We look at the entire early childhood system and all of the various impacts that a family or a child may experience in their first 5 years of life. The entire early childhood system includes everything from access to quality early care and education, just childcare, preschool, home visiting, family supports, medical care. Our focus is really on that birth to 5 space and all of the various aspects that come along with supporting families and children at that age. We hosted an advocacy awareness day at the Capitol called Have a Heart for Kids Day. We really wanted to create a way for parents and organizations that we work with and partner with across the state to be able to come together and talk with legislators.
I think a lot of legislators, myself included, are quite out of touch with what's really going on. Very rarely do we talk to families, do we talk to parents, and very rarely do we see children. So gatherings like this help us get back in touch.
Never knowing who could watch my children while I worked was so stressful, and those stressors were completely draining for me, my children, and my employers. The early years are the most important years of our children's life, and every single child should have an equal chance. I'll continue to fight hard every day to make sure that no parent has to feel the guilt of not being able to afford a quality education for their child.
This is a bipartisan issue. It impacts everyone, and we really wanted to elevate that. All the conversations that we've had with partners is that Montanans resoundingly really care about children. But what we see in the work of 0 to 5 is that there's a mismatch between what we see is the most critical investment in our children and how much we're investing as a state. Our policy and advocacy work includes a variety of different pathways for how you can engage in policy. We have a Montana Preschool Alliance. We have an infant and toddler focus group. We've helped to support an early childhood language pilot in partnership with tribal colleges. Through those partnerships, we've also been able to bring on a position that's solely dedicated to tribal policy coordination and supports. We have a childcare business-focused coalition to learn a little bit more about where there were barriers when it came to identifying childcare solutions through a local collaborative approach. Our work is really rooted in solutions. So we work with a variety of different partners to identify what are the opportunities that we can really work towards solutions in our state and work together to make those a reality. One of the communities that we worked with was Beaverhead County.
The reality of living in rural Montana is that early childhood years, especially for parents, is really lonely because we have really hard winters and there aren't spaces for young children. The Childcare Innovations pilot that 0 to 5 has put together was instrumental for us in thinking about and having an actionable plan to move forward. The Early Childhood Coalition opened up an indoor play space just over a year ago. It's in the ground floor of an old elementary school. It's been returned to the children and is now a beautiful and safe place for them to be. One of the huge roles that we see ourselves playing in the community is as a convener to get everybody working towards similar goals.
We get to work with parents, we get to work with educators, the governor's office, and legislators. It just shows the breadth and depth of how important this work is and how fun it is to build relationships for action.
Those earliest years are the most critical for brain development and for getting that foundation and base for learning, for success. We really need to think of looking after our children from a village perspective.
It's too important for us not to put this level of attention and focus on early childhood. A real sense of community and finding solutions has been so empowering to see and be a part of.